come down and show you guys a few things. This is Mr. Tilley. He works with me. I'm Melissa's dad. And Mr. Tilley, me and him work at Mobile Association for the Blind. Okay, you guys were learning about Helen Keller this week, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. That's exciting news. And Mr. Tilley was really excited when I went to him and offered him to come with me. He was super excited to come down and share a few things with you. We're glad to be here, and I'm glad that you guys are learning that. It's a very important person where we work, in fact. She actually has a long line of doing things for Mr. Tilley. Mr. Tilley actually was telling me on the way over, where did you graduate school there?
Talladega. I went to the school for the blind. That's where Helen Keller School is.
Wow.
It's actually about 2 blocks away from the school that I went to.
Yep. And like I say, in Talladega, we're actually at work where what we do, we actually make products. And the blind, like Mr. Tilley, he actually helps make mops, brooms, and trash bags and those kinds of things. How many of you have mamas and daddies with a mop and a broom? Everybody in here, right? So that's exciting. We came down to kind of let you guys know what we did. Helen Keller was a very important person. Can anybody tell me an important fact about Miss Keller that you learned this week? Yes. What did y'all learn?
I learned that Helen Keller, she was blind and deaf.
That's correct. That is very correct. Also, in 2003, I don't know if you guys knew this, but the state of Alabama actually put out a quarter with her picture on it. That's very important to know. Also, yes ma'am, what did you learn?
I learned that she was born like a regular person, but she got really sick.
She got sick, and a lot of people think that it was maybe just some kind of sickness that she had that made her do that. She was actually about 19 months, I think, when she contracted whatever virus that she had. Also, yes ma'am, what did you learn?
I learned that she liked to play pranks.
She liked to play pranks. Yeah, it was very, very difficult for her really to learn a lot of different things when she was growing up as a kid. It was very hard for her to learn, but she actually persevered and actually learned a lot, and actually taught a lot of folks down the line. And actually, Tilley learned a lot from the people that actually taught him as well. Yes.
I learned that she was very talented enough that she became a really famous writer.
Yeah, and she wrote, I believe it was 12 books, 12 published books. I think it was 12 published books, and she wrote several articles. In fact, do you all know the very first book she wrote? Does anybody in here know that?
No.
It's The Frost King. Okay, The Frost King is the very first book that she wrote. It was very difficult for her growing up, and so was Mr. Tilley's childhood. Mr. Tilley, would you care to tell him how long you've been blind?
I've been blind since birth.
Since he was a little bitty baby. He's been blind all of his life. So it's very difficult for Mr. Tilley to learn. We actually bought some things in today and showed you how Mr. Tilley went through school and what he learned in school. That way he can tell you exactly how they work, and he's going to do some things for us today. Okay. First of all, Mr. Tilley, we have a bag of his things in here, and he's going to get you involved with some things. And just going back to the Helen Keller thing, I have some things wrote down that you may or may not know. Okay, and these are some things. Do you guys know where she was born?
No. At the top of Alabama.
Tuscumbia, Alabama. That's where, and Alabama's good, so that's where we're from. And that's where Mr. Tilley went to school, right down the street from her school. So that's very interesting. She attended the Perkins Institute for the Blind, which is actually right down the street there. Now, Alabama honored it, with the quarter in 2003. Also, a lot of things that I didn't know yesterday is that we're actually paired up with AIDB, and that stands for Alabama Institute for the Deaf and Blind. Now, we're partnered with them through Mrs. Keller's school down there. And what happens is does anybody have family members that are in the military or in the Army or anything like that? Did you know that AIDB and the school up there, they're out of Talladega, and they make all the neckties for all of the United States military, and they're the only ones that actually do that for our Marine Corps and all of our branches of our military. They also make the parachute bags for the paratroopers, and they're one of the very few people that do that. They actually have a workshop up there, and they have about 20 sewing machines, and they make those items each and every day for our military. So, yes, ma'am.
My papa, when he was like 12 years in the military.
Okay, well, yeah, you know, we appreciate what those guys do. They actually, guys and ladies, they actually go and fight for our country. That way we can actually be here and learn. So it's very, very important that we do that. Just a kind of a tidbit, I didn't think anybody knew. I just found out about that yesterday, in fact. It's a very interesting fact. So all the ties that you see those military people wearing with the neckties for the ladies and the long ties for the men, blind people make those for our military uniforms. Okay?
And that's in Talladega at the school?
In Talladega through AIDB.
It's actually at Industries for the Blind.
Industries for the
It's
Blind.
like right next. That's actually right next door to the school.
Okay.
Yeah. So it, you know, basically, everybody, have you ever seen a CNI dog
CNI dog.
for the blind?
I like to watch that.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, those are some interesting facts. I want to read you what I actually ran across last night. So it's very interesting about Helen Keller. When Helen Keller visited Akita Prefecture in Japan in July 1937, she inquired about Hachiko, a famed Akita dog that died in 1935. She told a Japanese person that she would like to have an Akita dog. One was given to her within a month, so they kind of give her a dog because she liked, you know, the temperament that it had and that kind of thing, and it helped her around the house and those kinds of things. They actually trained those dogs to do that. With the name, give it to her with the name Kamikaze Go. That's what she named the dog. Okay. When he died of canine distemper, he died. His older brother Kenzan Go was presented to her as an official gift from the Japanese government in July 1938. Now Keller is credited with having introduced the Akita to the United States through those two puppies that she had. So really, in a way, she actually brought over the CNI dogs from Japan and actually introduced them to America. So that's a cool thing. Basically, she wrote the 12 published books and several articles. And the Frost King, she actually, do you guys know how old she was when she wrote that?
How old?
11 years old.
What?
She wrote their first book when she was 11. That's called The Frost King. So if you ever get an opportunity to get that book or read it, it's probably a good book. I haven't read it yet, but that's just some interesting facts that we brought to the table today. Now Mr. Tilley's going to show you guys what it was like to learn when he was in grade school, in elementary school. There's some items in here to you, and I know you probably want to let them know what this is here. I'm going to put it in your hand. I'm not even going to tell you what it is, and you can let them know what it is.
Okay, this is called an abacus. And what you do with this was what we was using before they came out with talking calculators. And this is what the Japanese use. Instead of like calculators, they use this. And over here to my left and you guys right, this is the ones column.
Everybody knows what the number 1 is, right?
All these are
Yep.
like one. When everything is pushed down and all of the ones on the top is pushed up, everything is clear. So when you push that up, that means you have 1. Push another one up, you have 2 and 3, 4. Now if you come up here to the top, all of these up top is 5. 5, 50, 500, 5,000, 50,000, 500,000, and so so on. So if you push this down, you have 9. And this is what we used to like do math on before they came out with talking calculator. Now I will pass it around and you guys can actually have some hands-on with the abacus.
Yep, we're going to pass it around just as it gets back around the room. We'll collect it back. This is Mr. Tilley's, what he learned on in school. If y'all want to play with it a minute, y'all can. There's some other things that he brought to demonstrate as well. Let me see here. All right, this here is a talking calculator. I'm going to let him demonstrate it.
That's talking calculator, like Mr. Ken said. And
Y'all hear that? All right, that's on.
it's on. So just like you guys have a regular calculator, we have a talking calculator that has all of the same buttons. It may not be set up the same, which the keypad is set up the same, but as far as plus, minus, divide, all that may not be set up the same, but it does talk to you. Whatever you push,
You hear him? You push the 5 and the 4.
it'll talk to you.
8. Yep.
And you can, do all your math on this calculator.
And this technology's come a long way since actually Tilly's been out of school, and we brought some other things to show you guys too. So we're going to pass this around for them, 2T, and let them play with that a little bit. I'm going to clear it, and they can make sure the math is correct on it. So y'all take a minute to play with that a minute. These are some cool things that he used to learn, and I think he has done a great and outstanding job. He does a lot there for us at the Association for the Blind. And this here, it kind of intrigued me when he showed me, kind of made it very interesting, because I didn't know what this thing was until he showed it to me. Basically, this, I'm going to put it in your hand, and you're going to let them know what it is. And this piece too.
Okay. This is the closest thing that a blind person can get to you guys' pencil and paper. You know how you take your pencil and you write on the paper? Well, this is called a stylus, and this is called a slate. So, yes, exactly. You slide the paper in between here, you clamp it down, and you will actually be writing backwards braille. It's quite complicated. I'm not going to tell you that this is easy at all. This is the most hardest thing that I had to learn, and I still haven't learned it, as well as I would like to. But like you say, you poke holes.